I'm looking at whether I should put a door in the side of the bus for the batteries. The batteries are located basically here. The floor of the battery housing, or the battery box, is actually where my hand is. So that means that to access it, you have to cut right down here. Now, of course, that creates issues and problems in terms of lining up the doors. I've noticed that some people cut right through because of that and then hinge the door from the top. I don't like the idea of that because I don't want to lose the integrity of the bus along the base here. And quite frankly, I don't like cutting holes in the side of the bus. If I can avoid them, I will. So I've decided to access or create an access point through the cabinets, through the well that's actually in the bus. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to put drawers over that section, which can be removed completely. So 3 drawers, it gives you, in a full cabinet box, it should give us plenty of access. The stove will be to one side of it, but even with the stove covering a third of it, the batteries actually sit on the left-hand side, and all the terminals and everything are quite accessible, and they can still be easily accessed and lifted out. So going down into the well, you can see that even from here, all the batteries are very accessible. Okay, so the board's cut to the size of the well. Now below that I have to put some supports, so obviously so it doesn't fall through. To make it easier to lift this thing in and out, if you look closely, I've actually cut the edges on an angle. They slope inwards, so that when it comes down, it falls in and the top edge sits tight. It makes it a lot easier to get these things in and out. This is the piece that goes under the floor. I've had to cut it in half. Basically, I'm going to screw it from the top and then put some supports underneath along the ends, and that should hold it pretty firmly in place. Incidentally, I am gluing and screwing everything in this bus. The vibrations and the shaking, especially if you're using melamine for your cabinetry, the vibrations will eventually shake it loose, in my opinion. Essentially what I've done is created a hatch, okay, and look, push comes to shove, we can pull it out completely. It'll slide comfortably in underneath the cabinet. Alright, the next job I'm going to tackle is installing the range hood and the oven. I've made this bracket, and basically that will sit, which sits on the top of the range hood, and then it will be secured up here like that. The face of the cabinet will come here, the range hood sticks out about so far, so that should be all concealed. There'll be a side on this side, connected there, and that should finish it off nicely. So to give you an idea of what it might be like, this is the box that the oven will sit on. If we need to access the battery isolator, there's only 5 screws on that side holding this whole thing together and two in the floor there. So we should be able to remove this reasonably easily if we have to. The one thing you might be asking is, why are we putting the oven up the front? I didn't really want the bed to be higher than the window with the mattress and everything on it. Having lived on buses for a couple of years in the past, when it gets hot, the higher up you are in the bus, the more uncomfortable it is. So if you can keep your bedding lower, it's always a little bit more comfortable. It also means that you're not at window height. I don't like the feeling of being at window height with the windows open, even if you do have security mesh. It just makes it feel a little more snug as well. Basically, we brought the gas tank forward so it wouldn't be so high under the bed. With the cabinet for the gas tank being forward, we have to move 1.5 metres away from it, and that basically brings it to that point there. So I've decided to go a little bit further forward. That's given us a well that we can access for the batteries, and which means, of course, we don't have to put a hole in the side of the bus. Look, if it doesn't work out, we will put a hole in the side of the bus later on. But at the moment, this is our solution, and I've got my fingers crossed that it's going to work.